It's my immense pleasure, as always, to be joined by Anna Danylchuk, who's been creating a war diary since the early days of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia in 2022. She is one of those people who I think has built a loyal following because of the absolute truth, no matter how brutal it is. She tells about the war and about the, let's say, Russian history mentality and the disinformation techniques that they've used and which has led to this historic confrontation as well. She's also passionate about the beauty, independence of her country, and of course, as you all know, is a powerful communicator of that. Anna, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, and greetings to all of our viewers who are also our best friends.
They absolutely are, and I love all the comments. I used to say that we have a higher class of troll on our account because they know they won't get away with being rude, but I haven't seen too many trolls recently. But they're stretched a little bit thin at the moment, I think, Russia's resources.
Yeah,
So
they have so many things to comment, they literally do not have enough time and money
they don't
for
have
that.
enough time, especially not for the sort of slightly longer, more detailed
Yeah.
trolling that our channels require to cut through. Um, there are so many things to talk about, but the first thing I wanted, and people might be surprised here, given what's going on in the Middle East, given everything that's going on, the first question is going to be a bit of an esoteric one, and I saved this up because I think you're the ideal person to throw this at. We've talked about these things so many times. This is the Oscar ceremony, and I call it, Mr. Nobody Does Nothing, which some people might find a little bit harsh, but I balance that by saying I'm going to see the film and I'm going to get some value from it. But what you have is two films. One has made the prize, and we have to examine why it was allowed to, and whether it is real political dissent, and not just on the part of the filmmakers, the Russian who was instrumental, but we also now have to look at that through the lens of the US, because there are very, very careful choices being made not to upset the Trump regime, not to upset shareholders in media companies, not to upset those who basically sort of sponsor and pay for things like these award ceremonies. And we have an oligarchic takeover of US media. So we have to say, well, why was that film chosen, and why was 2,000 meters from Andreevka, made by Mstislav Chernov, not even considered for the prize, given that it is not just one of the best documentaries this year or about the war, it is one of the best documentaries of the last decade and is a far more sophisticated and mature piece of work than 20 Days in Mariupol. So to preclude that film is a very conscious decision. To choose Mr. Nobody Does Nothing is a very conscious decision, and it's extremely political. What I'm going to ask you is to compare the two methods of, I call them dissent here. I won't say protest because there's no real protest in that film. Okay, its structure doesn't lend itself to that. Fine, it's an observational piece. But here are two models for how you oppose authoritarianism. One is you pick up a gun and you fight. The other one is you pick up a camera and you observe. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for this question. As a person, I may tell you that I stopped admiring various competitions, various, film festivals and other stuff long ago, because we all know that the decisions are often influenced by a number of political decisions or people owning these companies. And after observing Donald Trump chasing the Nobel Peace Prize, it made look everything quite pathetic. And at the same time, I believe that the decisions of the Oscar committee, like support Ukraine 1 year, then support Russia in a couple of years, it describes this attitude that still exists on the international arena, that like we have to equate the victim with the aggressor, and if we have given one Oscar once to Ukraine, then we have to give another Oscar sometime later to Russia. It could be that shallow. If we are talking about the films, I still believe that Mstislav Chernov's work will have a lot of views and influences. This is what matters most. And I'm sure we know a lot of films and books that were never awarded but changed the culture and the history of the world to a great extent. And then back to your extremely interesting and deep question about how differently two of these movies describe the world and a role of a person in it. And I've read one comment of a Ukrainian politician who watched Mr. Nobody, and he was not that much disappointed as everyone in Ukraine that once again they are looking for good Russians, they are constantly finding them. But he highlighted an extremely important message that this film actually shows, and I'm not sure that many will notice watching it once again using this shallow lenses. So the moment you go to the cinema, have a look at it, and he says that for a smart viewer, it unmasks the size of the problem. It shows that it's not the war of Putin, it's the war of millions of Russians. And the problem of that Mr. Nobody is that he likes a lot of these people. He wants to eat and drink with them, to talk with them, but they are also fascists. And he waits for these to pass so that he can return back. In his interviews, he actually says this. But this shows to adequate people who fear for the future of the planet that we have millions that share the mindset of Putin. And even after the collapse of his regime, a serious work must be done with the Russian population that at its best is just the observers and in its vast majority is accomplices. But I am sure that people will look at different things and will enjoy it just like we like, this horror documentaries about North Korea, forgetting that right now this country, these people have way more influence than Kim Jong-un. And the Ukrainian documentary pushes you to act. It shows you that people just like you in very trying times chose to defend their country, to defend. Everyone defends everything. Like you can defend your home, your family, your city. You may think about the country, you may think about the village, but it all works together and it's extremely difficult because what many forget, most of the Ukrainian army are not professional soldiers, not the people who chose this profession, who had traits necessary for this profession. These are teachers, doctors, baristas, IT specialists, and they took the responsibility that many will deny. And this is another fear that I have, that many countries, including our European neighbors, may choose the approach of Mr. Nobody, observing what is happening, including to their country, to their governments, to their international relations. That's what we see right now in the United States. A lot of good people are observing, while Donald Trump and a couple of people, not many, are dismantling the centuries of America's heritage. And I'm sure that there are a lot of good people in the Republican Party of the USA. It was traditionally party number one to support Eastern European countries that fought for their freedom. And they are choosing to observe because some of the necessary mechanisms to stand against the oppressor, to stand against the invader, to stand against the bully, they are atrophied or something. And this is another problem that watching 200 meters to Avdiivka, they may feel, uh, like that they are uncomfortable, that they would not act like that in a similar situation. And that's why subconsciously they choose uh, the observation mode, the one we see in Mr. Nobody, where he does not judge, he does not expose, and we may say that sometimes not fighting, but fixing, observing, and showing is also very important. That's what we do with you, like speaking, showing, explaining, translating. But it once again tries to depict Russians as people who are totally, they are not responsible for these crimes, even though they fully support them. They are just simple people, ordinary people who cannot change anything. 140 million can do a lot. They simply choose not to. And if we have a good lesson from this Mr. Nobody, then it is that this war is the war of millions of Russians who are so brainwashed, who share this mindset to a great extent. It's not only propaganda, it's also centuries long mindset. And that for the complete victory, a serious plan must be developed on how to defascist them, similar to the experience we had after the collapse of the Nazi regime. And it worked well, turning Germany into one of the strongest protectors of freedom and democracy, especially now. So I believe it tells us about the choices that so many people can make in the moment of decision, that many will follow Mr. Nobody, observing and waiting for this all to pass when it will not. Just as bad diseases do not pass by their own and they need medicine, time, and treatment, the same way as this parade of fascism and wars and conflicts that keep growing on the planet.
But of course, sometimes, in a very small number of cases, serious illnesses pass and there's no explanation. It's almost miraculous. And it seems that the world treats Russia with exactly that same anti-scientific belief. We're all waiting for a miracle. We're waiting for the miracle of Russian democracy just to emerge by itself, like some rare flower that sort of blooms every century or so, and no one knows why. But of course, it's not going to happen that way. Ukraine shows that you have to have physical, punctuated revolutions that's hard and messy and risky and dangerous and involves millions of people. And it's only by that concerted pressure, that intentionality coming together amongst so many people, and as in 2014 showed, the willingness to use violence when you are met with violence by the authorities. That's the only thing that's going to succeed. And yet we look at Russia and we wait for a miracle. We wait for the good Russians
We
to
don't.
bring a
We
miracle.
expect
You
like
don't
fires,
know.
fires, a big ocean instead of Russia. That's the miracle we
Yes,
envision.
yes. But it does seem that many in the Western political world either await that miracle or they just wait for things to return to normal. And my greatest fear here is that we wake up and Mr. Putin has popped his clogs, he's croaked, he's how should you say it? He's fertilizing the sunflowers, and not just that a second Mr. Putin emerges like some kind of Russian doll Matryoshka, but actually suddenly a miracle occurs, and we have a liberal Russian leader. But actually, this liberal Russian leader is a figment of our imagination. It's a construct of the intelligence services. It's a way to cleanse Russia. It's a way to cleanse their reputation once again. There are so many in the West who will just fall for it instantly. Lift sanctions. This is what they're waiting for. And this process of transformation that Russia needs will be deferred yet again.
Well, I do not believe that the Russian Federation can develop into democracy by itself. They have never had a democratic tradition. And when I ask our audiences, give me an example in all of the Russian history, what was the short democratic period in Russia? They speak about Yeltsin. But Yeltsin actually shot at the parliament in Moscow. Yeltsin began war in Chechnya, and Yeltsin appointed Putin so that he would not have problems with the crimes he committed during his first term, understanding he cannot finish the second. So, and Putin did not have any chances. He was totally unknown. By appointing him the prime minister, continuing Chechen wars, organizing terror acts, they passed this power. Uh, not giving people a chance to have elections ever. So Russia never had democracy. If it never had democracy, if your child never studied to read, how can he begin reading? There is no way. Since recently, I read more about various peoples that live on the territory of the Russian Federation. I want to know more about them. I want to understand myself because one of the big problems that we have is that the majority of political leaders in the West see Russia as extremely monolithic, as all compiled of Moscovites that look like Putin or classical Russian, when in reality it is extremely diverse. And lots of these republics have nothing in common with the Kremlin apart from problems that Kremlin delivers to them. Soon on my channel there will be an interview with a Sakha activist. And well, like my favorite fact about Sakha, which is Yakutia, which is on the north of east of Russia, it is the size of India. People, this republic is equal in size to India. And in the 90s, they fought for their sovereignty. They wrote their constitution. And they are rich in oil, gas, diamonds, gold. And they have their reasons not to want to be a part of the Russian Federation, because right now all big mining companies need to register in Moscow. So all the taxes go to Moscow, and they receive like 30% in dotations, and they are one of the poorest regions. They don't have their reasons to be with the Russian Federation. And I've read one article that made me think quite long that maybe the country of this size, so diverse and literally with like disrespect, and they do not think of any mechanisms how to put Chechnya and Sakha, how to make them integrated, like with each other. They are all living their separate lives, simply paying tribute to the Kremlin. So maybe that vast territories are not meant to be democratic. They cannot be democratic. And they need to free themselves from this Kremlin control. And I also remember one Buryat Mongol activist, Rajana Dugar de Ponte, who said that, like, there are hundreds of times when the United States, when the European Union tried to reboot relations with one and the same Vladimir Putin. There are tons of photos, him shaking hands, smiling, and these reboots, they only give more benefits to Russia. They sanctions lifted, back to G7, G8, whatever, but they don't pay their price for the crimes, and it looks so pathetic. And she asked a very good question. Maybe it is time to give a chance to these national republics like Buryat Mongol, like Sakha, like Chechnya, because Chechnya is not Kadyrov. Maybe these republics can build democracies. Why are you so afraid of us not giving them a chance when all your tries with the Kremlin failed? And you have to be realistic, they failed. Russia was never democratic. Russia does not know how to build it. And another signal that, like, even if you believe in this miraculous cure of the Russian Federation, there should be symptoms of improvement. For example, a real Russian opposition, active Russian opposition made of even those people who flee the country when the war began. I don't see any movements apart from pro-Kremlin parades or rallies, any movements of Russian Democrats in Germany, in France, in Turkey, in Georgia, with full respect to the countries they live in. And all these fake oppositioners, they may be anti-Putin. They are an opposition to Putin as a person, but they are not an opposition to the Russian imperial mindset. And they keep protecting Russians. They speak about the need to lift sanctions, to let Russians travel. Russians are responsible for this war, and Putin is the product. I do agree that Donald Trump is not the reason, but the consequence of this relaxation, lack of control in the Western world. And Putin is also not the reason, but the consequence of the choices of the Russian people.
That's it. And when you speak to some people who are, let's say, a little bit more honest about the state of the Russian opposition, and who don't have a direct, let's say, role in it, they'll tell you that it's ineffective and it doesn't really exist. Michael Fagan was one of those I spoke to last year who said that basically there is no opposition, and it's not
There is no
helpful.
opposition. And I
Yeah.
hate it when they keep pretending that there is and they like want to invite and put us at the same tables. And the same about Belarus, you know. I have a lot of people who keep asking me, why doesn't Zelensky work with Tsikhanovskaya? Tsikhanovskaya does nothing, literally nothing. She has this like diplomatic tourism and nothing. They did not try to. And now you see some released oppositioners who begin speaking about the need to work with Lukashenko. That's a betrayal. This proves that during these years in prison, they were influenced, manipulated, or something. But now they are working for Lukashenko, same as this sanctions lifted yesterday. And I will be, like very subjective here. But yesterday, when I watched that video of the American envoy and his Belarus interpreter announcing that sanctions, reading from a piece of paper, I want to tell you honestly, these people did not look cool at all. Maybe this sounds like a funny argument, but they were so pathetic. They did not look like they represent the United States or they represent any democratic country. These were two frightened, very fragile men, unable to understand what they are doing at the moment and
Mm.
needing that paper to read the names of the banks.
It absolutely is. To compare it to a fictional scenario, it's like the character Grimer Wormtongue, or a character from Lord of the Rings who, faced with a monumental moral choices, choose to side with evil just to save their own skins, just to have a few more comfortable days, just to have some protection in a dangerous world.
But you
That's
do
what these people are
remember
doing.
this quote of your beautiful leader that if you choose between a war and disgrace, am I right?
Yes.
Uh, and you choose disgrace, you will have both.
You will have both, yes. Something along those lines, yes.
That's exactly what I saw yesterday on the faces of that man.
Yeah,
If you haven't seen that video, guys, do watch and you will see it doesn't look impressive, like, oh my God, our enemy got a strong support. It looks very pathetic.
completely pathetic. And of course it is, because, as I point out, language is important. When people say that Putin might use the situation, or Belarus isn't fully independent, no, let's say it how it is. Belarus is now a puppet.
Russian.
It's a territory of the Russian Federation. It's an instrument, it's a tool.
People know very little. For example, my now we have some electricity outages in my region in the West Ukraine, minor, not big, but like 2, 3 hours. Why? Because 2 days ago, drones from Belarus targeted a number of northern cities in my region, electricity grid, electricity station in Novolinsk, for example. This is the northern part that borders with Belarus, and it happens all the time. In my Telegram channels, I have this like drones flying from Belarus. That's the case for me. And yesterday I told that in my video, and a lot of people were genuinely surprised. Like, how is it possible that drones travel from Belarus? But the attack on Kyiv, on Chernihiv, was also from Belarus at the beginning of the full-scale invasion. In their heads, they still believe that Belarus is not participating. Belarus is participating, but we're not making like a lot of aide of that just because Belarus is not a free country now. Belarus is long time occupied by Russia. We had the chance to free it in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, when they protested against rigged elections. But right now, we are not even acting like, oh my God, Belarus joined. Belarus joined Russia long ago, so they are
Yes.
all in. But many people still do not understand it. And imagine the level, it's not even anger, because I don't feel angry anymore about Donald Trump. You cannot feel angry about that kind of person. You have to, like, it has to be a serious rival, a smart person to be angry at him. You're just like, uh, like a Japanese prime minister, sometimes I feel. But last night, Belarus drones destroyed my electricity station, and the next morning, the United States lifted the sanctions. That will definitely be used by the Kremlin via
Yeah,
Belarus banks.
they're effectively lifting sanctions on Russia. This is directly what people should be saying. It's not sort of, giving that regime an off-ramp or blah, 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 blah. They have
Why are we giving
literally.
so offerings to evil regimes and we keep humiliating Zelensky or Stub?
Yes, I mean, but they're literally lifting sanctions on Russia. That is the effect of what they're doing, because of course Putin can then use it as a get out. There's one more question. I mean, we've got a short episode today, but there's one more question I wanted to lead to because it's fascinating, and I want to do some episodes on this and get your input. So I do have to turn back to Mordor, unfortunately, in this episode, and the question here. But we have a Kremlin propagandist, one of the worst actually, because simply he was a minion who parroted everything the Kremlin wanted him to say. No matter how genocidal, no matter how unpleasant, he was always up for it. He was always there when donosi, as they say, or the saying things about your fellow citizens was required, condemning them. He was up for that as well. But this pro-Kremlin blogger has suddenly come out, Ilya Remislov
Remeslo.
has come out and just said 5 reasons why I don't support Vladimir Putin. So right there, he's broken the cardinal sin. You can potentially criticize governors, military, etc. You never go after the Tsar. So this is interesting. And the result of his outburst is that he's been put into a psychiatric hospital. Oh my goodness. So the parallels with Soviet treatment of so-called dissidents. But I don't see him as a dissident. I see this as something rather weird and rather unusual. And I suspect there's something of a story behind this. But I don't know what your take on this is and whether this is important or not.
I think it's important. And it has, by the way, an interesting explanation. He is in that psychiatric ward, but his father is a psychotherapist. So many believe it was an effort of his family to save him from bigger problems or jumping out of the window. But first of all, I do agree that it doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound typical for that Ilya Remeslo. But it is not that unusual anymore. There are tons of Russian military vloggers who literally condemn the Kremlin. Maybe not directly Putin. They are still afraid to pronounce his name, but they speak about tons of problems. It all accelerated with internet shutdowns and Telegram ban.
Even
But
Solovyov has become a little more critical
yeah,
of some of these
yeah,
things. Yeah.
and they are talking about this failures, and they are talking about the humiliation, the disrespect. Well, like there are tons of problems that they now openly discuss, and I often incorporate on my smaller Anna Danylchuk channel this like analysis of the things that Russian military bloggers start talking about, and they are not optimistic at all. They see that they failed all of their military aims and paid a very high price. But what I loved about this situation and the explanation of one of the Ukrainian experts, that it seems like this Ilya Remeslo, who did not demonstrate a lot of like personal wisdom or independence, he helped them take down Navalny. He was one of the persons who wrote against him, and like courts and trials were connected with him. So he helped them fight against Navalny. He was also close with some Chechen leaders. So he was doing the tasks of the Kremlin. He did not seem very independent. He felt like a person who works for the president and the regime and the Kremlin. And there are thoughts that he has his curators in the Kremlin, like people who influenced his work, who supported his work, and
Basically, tell
that,
him what to do as well.
yeah, tell him what to do for money, and he did that, and he worked for the regime, and that these very people told him to do it. That these very people instructed him to change the narrative. And this shows that different spheres of influence may be shaping within the Kremlin. That's why Putin fears the coup. He does not travel to the Kremlin. He has all these air defense and internet shutdowns in Moscow. It may be that he fears not only Ukrainian or, I don't know, American drones, but his own people, because the level of dissatisfaction with Putin in the Russian, among the Russian population is very, very high. And they may think that he can collapse and take them down with him. So it may be that some Kremlin influence groups are already shaping the ground to take over the power. There were rumors about Shoigu
Succession
too.
process. Yeah,
Yeah, and it may be that this Remeslo is one of many to appear to prepare the ground,
that's it.
to
Because
blame
he
Putin for
hardly
all the failures.
he hardly he does not seem to have the brains of the independents to come and
Exactly.
suddenly write a script like this. That's what makes this most interesting. And I think we've always said, and Jason Smart is someone who, we would discuss this with as well. When it happens, it's going to happen quick. There'll be many in Western intelligence services say, "Well, we never predicted this, etc.,
Yeah.
etc."
Oh
But
my God, what can we do to
oh, how
stop it?
yeah! But when the Tsar is weak, when you have a weak, strong man, it's over. And
Oh, that's beautiful. Weak, strong man. That's exactly what we see
yeah,
right now.
but the way it works, the minute they smell the blood in the water, and it's not a specific process. I talked about this yesterday with my brain's half gone. I can't remember who I was discussing with. I was
That's
discussing it with
because of the
somebody
cold.
yesterday. Yes, and cold has really messed with my brain. Hopefully, they don't have one of those little microwave things. Someone sitting down the road, sort of firing microwaves at me, trying to
Do you know what
discombobulate
ancient
me.
Romans said about the cold?
No.
That's your brain living you through the nose.
Oh yes, it does feel a little bit like that. It has to. But
Not your case, not your case.
I hope not. I hope not. Although they do have these microwave weapons they were using on U.S. Diplomatic staff, the Russians. So I'm a little bit paranoid about that. Um, and I've known this for a long time. It's Russians are primed to look for the next strongman. It's not even a formal system. It's not written down. It's not a constitution. It's an instinct to
Yeah,
look for the hierarchy to reassert itself, and you need someone who's powerful at the top to do that. The minute your strong man becomes a weak strong man,
you need
it's
another
game
one.
over. It's just a question of time.
Yeah.
And anyone who wants to survive in that system, who wants to keep their trotters in the trough, is going to need to make sure there is an adequate strong man to come up. Because if there isn't, you will then have multiple candidates fighting it out. That gets vicious and brutal. So I think all their minds are now turning to how do you have a clean succession to the next
Hmm.
powerful figure
Hmm.
to avoid smutne vremena, to avoid
And loss of
bloodletting,
power.
to avoid, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and loss of resource, power, and
Yeah.
opportunity. That is, I think we're entering that phase. Let's hope we are.
Yeah. Maybe sometime soon we will comment more on such events.
And then the swans will dance, and and I can learn the hopak, hopefully just in time for that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little
That would
old
be
for
a
that
long
now.
song.
Yes. Anna, thank you so much. I know you have to dash. We'll chat again soon. In fact, let's make it sooner because things are speeding up. And of course, I look forward to seeing you in Ukraine later this year.
Thank you so much and looking forward to meeting you here in Ukraine.
And before we go, people won't see that. It's a book.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
something
book.
that come
It's
come and
very
take a look with us.
exciting. It's a book, it's a
Looks
book, it's a
amazing.
book. And again, they won't see that. But here is Anna.
You
There's a
are
chapter
an
with Anna in
amazing
here.
person and congratulations. And I think it's just the first of many of your books.
I think it will be. But there's a copy here, signed, and I will deliver it. And yeah, if we do it at the book arsenal, that would be even more symbolic
Yeah,
in
that
May.
would be very
That would be.
symbolic. So think about that. Check your schedule.
I will, definitely. Anna, thank you so much. Stay safe, and until
Thank
the
you.
next time.
Till the next time. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. Your support is massively appreciated. Here's just a quick notice at the end of it. Please do stick with this because here are two important messages. Firstly, there are links in the description of this, and I really want to share with you the work of Stephen Moore and his team, founder of Ukraine Freedom Project. He's a former congressional Republican chief of staff, and he's been in Ukraine now for most of the full-scale war. In fact, he was there on day 5 of the war, and he's produced an extraordinary film, A Faith Under Siege, that documents Russian atrocities against Ukrainian Christians. If you haven't seen that, if you haven't even seen the teaser, I strongly recommend you look at that, and of course look at the wider work that his team does to evangelize the importance of Ukraine as a topic, especially and crucially now amongst congressional Republicans. Khartiia is a Ukrainian corps operating around Kupiansk, which is a critical area of the front. Now, this campaign won't be for everybody. It is a kinetic campaign in that we are crowdsourcing here for funds to buy vampire drones. 15, in fact. 5 of those have already been achieved in this campaign, but we are looking to scale this up to get the full amount of $40,000 US. That's going to Dzyga's Paw that are handling this. This is an incredibly important campaign. There are many creators who are taking part in this. My view is that it's not enough at this point just to help Ukraine to survive. It's not enough just to invest in humanitarian causes. Not everyone's going to be comfortable with this, but they have to remove the invaders from their lands. To do that, they need the skills, the munitions, the weaponry to achieve that. This is where these vampire drones come in. So please, this isn't a full polished promo. I'm still working on that, but the campaign launches today. Please do check it out and, of course, help in any way that you can.